Hello, hello. It's time to look at more manga. My plan was to continue where we left off in my gigantic 196 title reading list, but I noticed when I loaded it up this time, it's actually in a different order. Of course, we still have the very embarrassing Chi 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 at number one, but stuff like Nichijou, I remember that was like way later before. Um, this got moved up. This got moved up. So I'm like not really sure what's going on because I didn't know what this was sorted by in the first place. But we're just going to like first go through and make sure that we didn't. There's no ones that we haven't talked about that are in here, and then I'll just kind of like keep going until we start getting a bunch of new tiles, I guess, or titles, I guess. Yeah, these we all talked about. These we all talked about. Covered it. Covered it. Covered it. Covered it, covered it. I don't understand. They like shuffled them around, but they're still roughly in the same spots. Because we haven't run into any ones that weren't covered yet. Did we cover this one? I think so. Yeah, we talked about this. So I don't get it. All covered, but different order, different order. All covered. Not covered. Not covered. Couple new ones. Okay. This one, there's very few chapters scanlated from what I remember. But it's just a neat idea. It's about this very intimidating looking woman who has a very sharp demeanor, but all she wants to do is wear really elaborate gothic Lolita fashion. And it's about her just trying it out and experimenting and coming into her own and learning to love and appreciate that part of herself. And that's just in the first two chapters. I heard from someone who's read more of this, I think in Japanese, I guess, that it's a really lovely series. So I hope eventually we'll get more scanlation of it at some point, because yeah, it seems great. This is a silly doujinshi series. Hasn't been updated in a really long time, which is unfortunate. But basically we have the characters of Yuri Yuri. They've been pulled into the world of Pokemon, and now they're just kind of playing through Pokemon Red. And what I appreciate with this one is that they go through like all of the game events in considerable detail, and they kind of replicate the game mechanics in a certain way. And it has like a lot of kind of fun, okay, what if that was real? Like what would it actually be like to walk around in this forest without straying too far away from what are the games actually like? Like I'd kind of say it exists on a continuum where something like the Pokemon anime is actually very, very far removed from like the world of the games, just in kind of like its logic and how Ash travels around and what kind of stuff he sees. It's all pretty much invented for that. And then something like Pokemon Adventure, the manga, is like kind of somewhere in the middle, where it's more beat by beat the same plot as the games, and focuses a little more on like the battles playing out as they would in the games. And then this is even halfway between adventures and the games themselves. So that's really neat to me as someone who's a huge fan of those games. And the fact that it's the Yuri Yuri characters is fun too. I really like Yuri Yuri. The anime is fantastic. Over 700 pages. It's a long-running odyssey that, as far as I know, is still going. Maybe? When was this posted? Ooh, 2020. Maybe not so recently, but whatever. Awesome doujinshi project. Made for no one. No one asked for this, but here it is, and it's great. Covered these ones. Covered these. Covered this. We covered this Adachi Toshimamura. There's another one too that we'll talk about when we get to. Here's a very strange one. A bizarre, surreal, nightmarish gag comedy. A single volume release, which I have read all of. Move this to completed. About the bizarre, sadistic Ozanari-kun and his hapless boss. You could call it a little Beckett-esque that they just seem to be trapped in the cycle of sort of torturing each other but loving each other. It's very, very hard to read, like, what is the actual sincere intent behind this one, but the art style is really fun, really unique, plays to Inio Asano's strength in a completely different way than you would see in any of his other series. Fun stuff like these photo of cats and stuff. Really bizarre, really seems to be kind of touching into some aspect of the Japanese office psyche that is maybe totally alien to us. Very neat. Check it out. Talked about these guys, talked about this, talked about this, talked about this, talked about this and this. Didn't talk about this. I don't think I finished reading this. It ended somewhat abruptly as far as I could tell. I did read Beelzebub all the way through when it was running, and I quite liked it. It's very, I don't know, it's kind of like that Gintama style of, like, it's not quite shonen parody, but it is, like, very wacky, and it kind of plays off your shonen expectations in a fun way. At the time, though, I was just reading every single shonen series I could get my hands on. And then this one, I was kind of like, all right, well, it's a neat concept that Marie Antoinette is resurrected, but in her resurrection, a whole bunch of souls get swapped around to their bodies, and it's just a very comical adventure of trying to sort it out with some martial arts and stuff in there too. But I don't know, it was fine. There was nothing that made me super entranced by it. Oh yeah, this is like kind of the haplessly lewd Kohai, or senpai, sorry, and the Kohai is flustered and trying to get her to discreetly understand the mishap she has fallen into. A very classic premise. You can do 3,000 chapters of this if you want. This is a funny series. I hope this gets picked up again because I actually find this, like, really funny. It's interesting that, like, so One Piece is quite popular now. It's really grown in popularity in the West. People are finally catching on that this is, like, the best shonen of all time. But in Japan, of course, it's the most popular manga of all time, and it's like a cultural force that's unmatched by anything outside of, like, Pokemon and Doraemon and stuff. And so there's these various, like, One Piece spin-off series, and this one is about One Piece fandom itself. It's a gag comedy series about people who happen to be named after One Piece characters. And this is the other thing, is that One Piece has been running since, like, 1997. There's, like, multiple generations of One Piece fan now. So these sorts of stories are legitimately starting to emerge, I think, of people that loved One Piece growing up that then named their kids after One Piece characters. Like, I could conceivably be such a parent. Not that I ever would. As much as I love One Piece, I'm not naming my kid Usopp. But yeah, this just basically parodies different moments in the series and is like a really deranged gag comedy, which I like. There's no real realistic grounding or even character grounding. Everyone acts like a jerk and an idiot. And it seemed like they were kind of replicating the story beats of One Piece with their own kind of weird school setting adventures, and I was really excited to see the whole series done up this way, but unfortunately I think the series itself is on hiatus and the scanlation is lost. Talked about all of these. Here we go. Another Fukumoto spin-off. This one about Akagi's legendary enemy Washizu. So, you know, a lot of the backstory in Fukumoto series is this guy is a legendary gambler. He did this, he won this gamble and won the mining rights of this entire nation. He won an oil rig. He won control over this country's government and stuff. Just to add some sort of fantastical gravity to the gambles, they give people these sorts of backstories. And here, all of these almost throwaway lines from Akagi are now being depicted. Showing Washizu's rise to total financial and cultural dominance through a series of insane gambles. Like him gambling for control over these mines They actually play this insane mahjong game in the mines with these gigantic stone tablets, and it's pretty friggin' sweet. I hope this continues to get scanlated at some point. There's all these Fukumoto series that it's like, God, will I ever get to read them? But Wishizu's a great character, you know? He's got all that panache. He's got all that flair. Even though deep down he's just scum and wants nothing more than to make people suffer. This is a cool series. Very uncommon topic in manga of math. It's about a kid who's super mathematically gifted, and this reputable mathematics professor happens to come to his hometown and meet this kid and recognizes his talents and tries to encourage him, tries to set up some way that he can tutor him, but just this kind of tension around, should we just be encouraging his natural curiosity of mathematics? Do we really need to formalize it and have him dive into, you know, like a more rigorous, set-in-stone academic curriculum? Is that limiting his mathematical potential? Does he even want to? Would he rather just have a normal childhood? Will he ever have a normal childhood when his brain is so abnormal? It's cool, and I really like the depiction of this kid's like mathematical inspiration and like the patterns he sees and his curiosity and his natural way of quickly figuring out the formula behind stuff and the patterns behind stuff. One thing though is that it's like very, very hard for a mangaka to write a character who's a mathematical genius without being a mathematical genius themselves. This is a problem that a lot of such stories run into. And I think the series does it quite well by like obscuring just enough and showing you just enough that it kind of inspires ideas within you without actually having to be explicit and kind of like stake a claim, which could end up being, you know, at worst like embarrassing. I don't know. It didn't really get super heavily into like mathematical concepts. At least a few of the stuff I was kind of like, meh. I remember there's some scene where it's like, oh, he's doing like calculus and he's got this like multivariable calculus, but like, wow, the whims of a child, instead of, you know, the rate of increase of x and y, instead he's looking at the delta of like a butterfly and sunflower, and I'm like, doesn't really make sense. It's like not that creative to say, oh, it's a kid, so he'll use like silly pictograms, but then end up with like the same formula. It would be, I think, a lot more exciting if they were able to convey like a totally alien child's understanding that comes at it from like a totally different intuition or something. I don't know. I do want to read the rest of it. It's unfortunate that the scanlation stopped, because I am really curious what more they'll do. Has this author done anything else? No. Fascinating, fascinating. Okay. This we talked about, this we talked about, this we talked about, and I got really sad. This is a fun one. Mochi Ole has done all sorts of Yuri Jojinshi and such. This is one of their longer series about a girl who comes in to rent movies and slowly builds up this kind of flirtatious, friendly, curious relationship with the girl working there, who's very like sharp and at first standoffish. Mochi Ole, I think, has a good sense for what makes a good romance, but is the type to often let their own fetishes get in the way. So I kind of appreciate that they have a more vanilla story here. Recently they were writing for a series. Yeah, this one. I forgot this is Mochi Ole too. This one is a little more like fetishy in its premise, but the fetish doesn't really drive the plot or get in the way that much. It's a really, really nice rom-com. But yeah, lots of other good ones. But yeah, stuff like this, that incest tag, you're gonna see that a lot if you read their stuff. Which is, it is what it is. Did we talk about this one? I don't think so. This is just cute slice of life romance. They go on dates. I don't know, I don't really remember too much about it. Oh, yeah, that's why I was thinking of this one. Yeah, so I think I read this and then I read this. Because it's, I don't know, it's quite nice. Not much to it. Here's another cool Kyoshinsha one. I would say on his etchiness index, this one falls at like a nice 20% maybe. There's some fan service, but it's not really fetishy and it's not really explicit. But you know, just a little boobs perhaps. It's a pretty Yuri series, which is fun. So the main gimmick is this one girl is super shy and can only communicate by holding up a signboard that has the number 1 through 10. And it's just endless 4 gags of something happening and then her holding up the sign. And yeah, thought about as much. And I don't know, you'd think that premise would get old, and maybe eventually it does, but I remember enjoying this first volume that I read, that they managed to come up with like enough twists for it and enough like just sort of silly situations that I was into it, and I like the Yuri aspect, and the art is cute, so it's fine. This is a series that's getting an anime right now. It's second season. It's another one that I would say is somewhat like Nagatoro-san in that a lot of people view it through the lens of fetish first, which is fair because that's how it presents itself. And they think, oh, it's the series with the girl with big boobs, and it is. But it's actually like a decent rom-com underneath that. I would draw the line at decent, though. I don't think it's that great. It's very by the book, very route, but they do have progress. I'll spoil you right now. They do end up dating, and there's like substantial arcs and stuff that happen after they're already dating. It's not just confession series ends, so that's nice. I do kind of like this characterization, somewhat similar to Nagatoro-san, where the girl character is like very aggressive and teasing and kind of taunting the male character into admitting his feelings and stuff. That's sort of fun. Here the male character is like super jacked and super stoic and kind of awkward, and I like that too. So, I don't know, like lots of stuff to personally like, but they just don't really do that much interesting with it. But again, one that like, I think people dismiss it assuming that every other page is just going to be ridiculous cleavage, when in fact it's not even once per chapter. It's maybe like once or twice per volume. More restraint than you would imagine. Shifting gears hugely, this is a lovely, painful... where do I start with this? It's good. It's gonna get a star. We'll throw that up there right now. Yeah, I don't know where to start with this. I read all of this and got caught up, and now I haven't been caught up for a little bit. Just because it's one of those ones where I kind of feel too emotionally vulnerable. But it's all about this this kind of found family of a man and his wife and then his younger sister all living together, and then the man dies, and then it's just her and her sister-in-law living together and trying to kind of like pick up the pieces and support each other and make it through life together. Very touching, very down to earth, really good characterization, really good expanded cast. I found myself really caught up in like the drama of things like, oh, this guy was like a good friend of my brother when he was alive. Like, what kind of relationship can we have now? What kind of things will I learn about my brother? It's like very melodramatic on that layer, but like in a way that feels like very touching and authentic. And just these sort of stories about people who end up with each other through circumstances that maybe aren't ideal, that maybe weren't at all what anyone wanted, but are really just trying to make the best of it and really trying to elevate each other's lives, and the various ways you can really, really hurt one another inadvertently in that type of situation is very, very, very personally compelling to me. So this one, yeah, it's rough, but it's really beautiful at times too. And honestly, I don't know when I'm going to feel strong enough to return to it, but there it is, it's there. All right, shifting gears again. This is a great series. It's so silly. I've been getting so into this author's works. I'm reading a lot of them. There's maybe still some that I haven't read. They show up in a lot of anthologies, but whoa. Ooh. Whoa. Okay. This person's works really do have a lot of range. This one is much more on the silly, goofy, mildly fan servicey side. It's just about this guy who has a girlfriend, and the girlfriend is always trying to tease him, and she has this really kind of weird, awkward way of going about it, where she's at once very self-assured, but then gets flustered really easily. There's kind of an expanded cast of other girls that have a crush on him, but it never veers into the kind of stale harem cycling through girls type of stuff. It keeps it fresh, it keeps it quick moving. Every chapter is just kind of predicated by some gag, and then they explore the gag, and then there's a kind of a cute resolution where we see the main couple grow ever closer together. Yeah, I don't know. Big fan. Just really like this person's works in general. This is a wonderful, wonderful series. Just so touching, and I think very necessary to fill out genres in Japan like BL or GL or anything like that, where for such a long time, Japan, of course, has had tons of comics about lesbian people and gay people and stuff, and even trans people. But it was always such a, like, kind of drastic focus on the relationship itself, such a severity to that they were first and foremost romance series of that couple. That it's really encouraging to see now a much broader range of genres that deal with LGBT plus Q whatever issues and topics from such a range of perspectives. This one is so kind, so gentle, so understanding. You can tell it all from the cover. She thinks her son might be gay. She just wants to love him and encourage him as much as possible. He goes through some shit. His life isn't always easy. He's got a crush on this guy. Is it reciprocated? Probably not. But they're really good friends. That's tough. I've been in that spot before. It's tough. But it's also kind of beautiful. And I think this series is really all about seeing the beauty in this kind of the struggles that you can go through and the challenges you can go through. It touches on societal stuff too, you know, like the dad maybe not being so cool with gay people, but slowly kind of opening up and learning the other perspective. But a lot of focus is on, you know, just these are the challenges of being human, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's I don't know, I really like it. I'm gonna give it a star. I think the art is really cute. The extended cast is really good. I really like this character's younger brother is like a semi-major character who shows up a lot. There's one scene where he is like, hey, what are you doing? And his little brother is just writing movie reviews in this diary full of movie reviews. And he's like, what? Why are you doing that? And he's like, what do you mean why are you doing that? It's fun. And he's like, yeah, but are you going to like publish these? Are you going to like show them to anyone? He's like, no. Just like writing them. I was like, what a cool character. Yeah, I really like this one. Does this person have other stuff? Oh, I didn't know that was this person. Dang. Yeah, it's really good. I think most of their other works, like these doujins especially, are like more BL-y. Whereas, as I said before, this is just kind of a slice of life that involves someone who's gay. Ah, Wata-ten. No, just kidding. What is this called? Why can't I think of what this is called? Watamote. This series you've probably heard of. It got a lot of attention at the start because it was a cringe comedy like none other had ever hit kind of popular manga before. About this repulsive, degenerate loner girl who's constantly getting herself into the most nightmarish situations via social awkwardness or bizarre scheming or total lack of social decorum or just pure shitty unfortunate happenstance. Everything's working against her. Every chapter ends with her suffering until maybe about halfway through the series' run, after being incessantly bullied by one of her teachers who realized she doesn't have any friends, who takes it upon herself to try to get Tomoko some friends, she actually starts making friends. And it's amazing. It totally transforms what the series is like without ever feeling inauthentic to the character, without feeling inauthentic to the subject matter of the series. She's still a degenerate otaku and she still obsesses over that stuff. But she starts doing like social things now, and it's like more and more interesting. There's this whole field trip arc where she really solidifies a lot of her friendships, and there's just this like very intricate dramatic plot involving all these side characters that up until now had just sort of been like antagonists. You start really understanding their inner world, their perspectives, their relationships too. And now it's become this incredibly complex like social web of all these characters, some of whom hate each other, some of whom are buds, some of whom have really complicated emotional histories. And it's just become so interesting and at times so heartwarming to realize that like she made it. And I think this is like a great message because she was so far in the pit when this series started that I think more than being relatable to a lot of character or a lot of readers, she was like beyond a lot of readers, and people liked it because they were like, yeah, I'm not so so degenerate as Tomoko. I can handle myself better than Tomoko. And what it's teaching you, I think, is that even someone this degenerate can make friends. That the world isn't such a harsh and judgmental place, but that everyone really deserves friendship. It's a beautiful, beautiful message. Very good. I'll give it a star. I think either half by itself as this kind of like complex social sitcom, it's good. As this train wreck cringe comedy, it's good. But the fact that it transforms back and forth between one and another, and I think it's building up to perhaps the ending now, and it's going to be like really sentimental and explosive, and I'll probably cry. Yeah, get on the wave. It's more than a meme series. Shadow's House. Started reading this after watching the anime, but now I'm caught up because the anime went off the rails a little bit with an anime original ending, and I think the manga is doing a much better job. This is a richly inventive, extremely stunningly presented and emotionally compelling series taking place in this kind of ancient conspiratorial setting where so many of the characters know so much more than what you know, and yet everybody also seems quite delusioned about what's actually happening, and that you, the reader, can ascertain that there's a lot of sketchy stuff going on, which is, I think, a really, really great format for like world building, for making a really enticing, compelling setting, right? Just that mixture of stuff the characters know but you don't, and stuff that you know but the characters don't, and then the even bigger category of stuff that neither you nor the characters know. I think just trying to resolve that, trying to make the characters open up their eyes and realize how sketchy everything is, and also you wanting to have your eyes opened up to what's really going on, is just fantastic. The fact that they've been able to maintain that tension for almost 150 chapters is really compelling as well. We have learned quite a bit. It's not like they're slow rolling everything. Many of the mysteries are becoming unveiled. But with that is a sense of escalating stakes and tension that I think is very, very well managed. I'm going to give this a star as well. Check it out. I think anyone who likes the sounds of what I'm talking about is going to be really impressed. This is a cute series. Cross-dressing. This guy is going out dressed like a girl when he is hit on by this guy who actually turns out to be a girl. Beautiful. What more do you want? I like this one because they started dating right away, and it's all about their kind of post relationship. It's very adult. It deals kind of with the thrills and challenges of an escalating relationship. It's sexual without being fan servicey, and I think it's handling of the fact that this character cross-dresses and what that means to him, and how he conceives of his own gender and his own presentation, and kind of like what feelings he wants this relationship to elicit, is really well done. Like very compassionate, very cool, to kind of craft the inner mind of someone in a way that feels so realistic but is so compelling. Yeah, I don't know. Lots of really beautiful scenes. The relationship is still escalating and developing. You love to see it. Okay, this ended, I think, sort of. It said irregular chapters will continue to be published or something. You've probably heard of this one. It's about that helpful fox, Senko-san. The famous anecdote is that the mangaka really wanted to read something like this and was sad that it didn't exist, where this fox spirit just shows up and pampers you with supernatural powers beyond your heart's content. I talked a lot about the kind of pathology of this series when I did my anime review for it. Honestly, it's like the actual premise never really did a whole lot for me. I don't want to be babied. I don't want to be taken care of to that extent. I want to take care of someone else. That's my fantasy. I want to be Senko-san. I don't want to be doted on by Senko-san. And the manga is very much, though, in the position of you want to be the one that's doted on. So I never really felt like super connected to the series. But I always was very impressed with the series, with how well it depicts that comfort, that feeling of pamperedness, the food she makes, how delicious that is, how exhausted he is after work and how rejuvenated he is after being taken care of. It depicts this so well through like really innovative paneling, really compelling tone construction across entire pages, super fluffy art stylings, of course, especially the fluffy tales of the various fox spirits and stuff. I thought it escalated pretty well, that the cast expanded and there was kind of more long-term struggles and challenges and stuff that give you like a really satisfying feeling when they were overcome. I don't know, I have a lot of really good stuff to say about this series. I think it's kind of in an awkward position where the stuff that I think like makes it good, like the depiction, the paneling, the art style, the story crafting, is like hard for the average person to appreciate when the actual subject matter is so like fetishy and is so targeting a specific fantasy that the average reader probably doesn't have. So it's kind of like I wish more people could appreciate this. I wish I could like give it a star and say, yeah, if you like slice of life series, you'll be into this because it's really good. Because I think it is like a very, I don't know, is it that much of a niche? Who am I talking to? I'm already talking to such a self-selected group that maybe it's not that niche. I don't know. I would like to give it a star. Like, it is just so well done. But, like, there's other series that have the same healing benefits, I think, that are able to heal more people, that are more of a pancreas instead of this very hyper specific treatment for one brain disease. Alright, this is a nice series. Again, definitely not for everyone, but this time very much for me. So this is a bizarre 4-coma kind of gag series, kind of very intense lore-driven fantasy series, also very slice of lifey. Probably one of the most information-dense series I've ever seen, that every single 4-coma strip will have some sort of like plot development, some sort of lore mystery, either teased or uncovered, some sort of character development, and then like 3 jokes. And all of this is just crammed into the most like dialogue-heavy, text-heavy 4-coma you've probably ever read. But, I think the story they're telling is actually really cool and compelling. I won't even begin to explain it. It's very complicated, but it reminds me kind of Toho, in that it's just sort of like almost like timeless fantastical concepts, but dealt with like kind of very modern sensibilities. And it also reminds me of Nisi-Oisin, where the plot is written in kind of like a puzzle way, where if you pay enough attention to the lore, you can anticipate a lot of twists and a lot of like future arcs and stuff. I think they've done a really good job of like pacing the mysteries so that you're always kind of learning one revelation, but you feel like you're on the verge of a much greater revelation. All the character arcs are great. The characters really grow into powerful, capable people that can achieve the things they've been set up to want to achieve. Yeah, I have a lot of praise for the series. I won't give it a star though because it is very like esoteric and very dense and kind of difficult to get into. But the anime does a really good job of making it more accessible, kind of like highlighting it more emotionally so you can engage with it better. Check out the anime for sure. I think it's phenomenal. I forgot about this. Did I not finish? I guess I didn't finish reading this. I got one more volume to read. Yeah, that came out during my hiatus. This is about a big girl. Do you like big girls? Because I'm a big girl too. No, for real, I don't know. It's nice. It's for real though, it is nice. As a very, very tall woman, to see a series where a girl's tallness is highlighted as her charm point. It's being cute. I'll be real. That makes me feel happy. Just a cute rom-com about this very short, tiny guy and this big girl who sometimes dotes on him, sometimes kind of challenges him, but they go closer and closer together. And I assume right around here they're gonna get together, and that'll be nice. This is a 4-coma series. Very Yuri charged, very laid back and languid, very kind of soft, soothing art style. I like it. It's nice. The anime was really nice. The one character, Aiko. Aiko is one of the more compelling characters I've ever seen in this sort of slice of life series because she's so, I don't know, like elusive. She has just this kind of like charming mystery to her that I find really intriguing, that you don't really see out of this sort of series too often, where normally you want the characters to be really relatable and kind of like emotionally vulnerable, and really capable of like intimacy and stuff. And like Aiko is those things, but there's like kind of like a coolness. I don't know if I'm describing it well, but that's the thing that stands out to me most in the series. Hyoka, one of KyoAni's forgotten treasures, is its Hyoka adaptation. They adopted a series of light novels, and then I think concurrently they started making a manga. The manga is still going, still adapting the light novels. It's really, really good if you like Hyoka, which, you know, you gotta like these very low stakes, drawn out, slice of lifey type mysteries. But I mean, I think if you're watching the Keats to YouTube channel, you probably do. The art style is fantastic. The characterization is very good, very tense. Mysteries and stuff, even though, as I said, the stakes are often quite low. I really, really like the main character, or what's his name? Oreki? Hotaru Oreki, I'm pretty sure. The dynamic between him and Shitanda, I think, is fantastic. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll give this a star. I think it's deserves its love and deserved that really wonderful adaptation from KyoAni. I think it's kind of destined to be a cult classic because it doesn't really have the excitement of a lot of other series. But I think it teaches you a lot of really cool aspects of like Japanese history and Japanese culture. It has some really compelling little twists and turns in its mystery plot lines, and the characters are all just so lovable. My only complaint right now is that there's like multiple scanlation projects working on this. One of them is just going for the most recent chapters. Then one of them is going back and doing this arc for some reason. Oh, it's the same people. No, yeah, it's this. What are they doing? And then they're also doing this arc, and then they like started doing, or this was someone else was doing like the stuff that's covered in the anime, and was just starting from the start. So it's kind of all over the place. But since the arcs are fairly standalone, it's like okay. But I don't know. I wanna see what happens in between and stuff. Yeah, I really like it. This is a fun slice of life series about art school. She mistakenly applies to an art program. Oh my god, I don't know how to do art. Don't worry, you'll figure it out. And she does. And she makes a bunch of friends along the way. I remember this one was really fun in showing the art projects. A lot of series, I think, if they're about making art, they kind of play it safe with the depictions of art itself. But this one gets really bold and silly, which I appreciate. This is a pretty stupid series, honestly. It's like kind of a funny joke. Trying to get a yandere girl to kill you. Okay, whatever. Pretty tasteless. And then for a long time it was just kind of that joke over and over again, like, oh, I'm gonna make her think I'm cheating on her, and then she's gonna freak out and she's gonna kill me. Uh-oh, it's a big misunderstanding of the misunderstanding. She thinks I'm doing something nice for her. Blah, blah, blah. Very silly. And then it started trying to get, like, more sincere and, like, give backstories to the character. Like, oh, why is he so suicidal? Why is she so yandere? And that's when it started getting, like, actually just kind of offensive. Because it's, like, such a cheap joke that if you try to say, oh, but it was because of these, like, really dark reasons or something... It's just like, ugh, no, it's not. That's not how it would be. I don't know. But I'll still read it because I'm this far in. This is porn. Not much to say about that. This one should be in plan to read. I haven't read any of this, I don't think. Plan to read. And I think I was interested in this one because Waterflame, friend of the channel, I don't know if you're watching, was doing the scanlations for it. So I was like, okay, that's enough of a vote of endorsement that I'm curious and I'll check this out. Oh boy, it's more gender bending and cross-dressing. I wonder why I was so intently interested in reading all of these anthologies. Hee hee. I don't really remember... Wow, this has been going on for a long time. I don't know if I've read too much of these. Oh, yes. Also, I really like Takamichi, the artist. So I think I wanted to read any of his stuff that I could get a hold of. Yeah, so I think this was the main thing I was looking for. Takamichi is such a genius. Das Kapital manga. I think I read all of this. I'll leave it on this list though before I switch it to completed because I can't quite remember. But, I mean, you know, it's cool, dude. It's Das Kapital, the immortal science of Marxism, revealed at last to the masses through the magic of sequential pictures. Who wants to read 3 volumes of extremely dense text if they haven't even been bothered to pick up the manifesto? Instead, just read the manga-festo. Yeah, I don't know. It's neat. No. I did read a bunch of this. I remember this now. I think I finished this. It's not really, you know, just a textbook in manga form. Instead, it's a fictionalization that teaches you the lessons of the textbook through this parable of the cheese factory owners. Good. This is an interesting one. I think this is getting localized now, so I'll have to maybe look for the localized manga because the scanlation didn't get that far. A strange couple of a closeted gay man and a fujoshi who loves shipping gay men end up getting married and living together out of complicated convenience. And her desire to just become the wall and observe his romances without interference, and his own desires perhaps not really understood as far as I've read, to get with like his childhood friend. I think this could end up being really good. I think it could be just kind of like a very quietly sad series that also has explosively funny moments, which I really like. I'll have to see if I can read more of it somewhere. Pop Team Epic. What can we say about this? I've called the anime before the highest effort shitpost of all time, but the manga is perhaps the lowest effort shitpost of all time. I've always had a soft spot in my heart for B-Cub. I've been reading his works for so long now, going back to the days where B-Cub would show up on 4chan and draw fan art by request of just random ass like Western TV characters and stuff in his characteristic, perhaps this is the only way he can draw type of style. So yeah, B-Cub, my homie for life. His Toho Dojinshi is about Shen riding around and honking and stuff. Foundations of my sense of humor, for better or worse. I'm so happy that this has, become such an international phenomenon now with people watching the show and stuff. But the manga, it is what it is. Nakamura-kun. Ooh, it's starting to get scanlated. Hooray, hooray. I think... No, this is Japanese. I think it's out in English now, too. Go for it again. Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotta buy this. I love Nakamura's. This is like one of my favorite BL series of all time. Can't wait to see. This is the sequel series. I haven't read it yet. I just read the original series, which was released in just one tankobon. Really nice stuff. Just super endearing, low-key, very like classic art style. Very cute BL stuff. Good. This is very cute dog series. A whole bunch of people with dogs live in the same apartment complex and they just have fun with their dogs. This dog is wearing a necktie. Shades of the Spy Family dog wearing a bow tie. Who did it first? These guys did it first. I'd love to read more of this. It's just super cute. It's about a Samoyed. One of the cutest dogs ever invented. Yeah. This is a fun series. Again, just kind of like a rare topic for manga. Books. It's all about this girl who aspires to be a well-read, sophisticated, literati type, respected by her peers for being so well-read. But in fact, she is a huge fraud and can't make her way through even the shortest of the classics. And it's just all about the silliness of... Usually the format is she asks her more knowledgeable friends, hey, what's the deal with this book? They give her a quick synopsis. She kind of tries to guess and interpolate what the book is like from that. She gets it hilariously wrong. But it's fun because they actually talk about, a lot of the classics of literature, which you don't get to see discussed in manga that often. I think they mention Joyce sometimes even, my boy Joyce. I started reading this because Penny Theater had scanlated Game Club, and I worked with them on scanlating that, and then I just started reading a bunch of other stuff that they were working on. I should go through and look through all of these again. There's probably some other stuff here that would be really interesting. Very fun. Here's another weird one that I really enjoy. This is another one that I've been afraid to finish. I think I read up to here, and then I was just like, I don't want it to end. I'm so weak. This is maybe my New Year's resolution, to go through and finish series that I'm 3 chapters away from finishing. I wanted to make videos about this one too, because it's so fascinating. It's so unique and so weird. It's like... So there's kind of a genre of sort of weird outsider manga, where all the premises are kind of confusing, and you're kind of unsure what the tone is. You're unsure if it's going to get creepy or weird. You're unsure if it's intentionally creepy or weird. And there's just kind of this growing sense of mystery with no real hope that things will get definitively resolved. I think this is the first series I've read that's deliberately trying for that style, from a place of having read other series like that and enjoying them, instead of from an outsider perspective, which I can't prove that, but there's just something that's a little more like knowing about this one. That seems to be more of like in an intentional dialogue with the reader of like, how about this? This is mysterious, isn't it? Like, for example, let's say there's a series that has kind of like a post-apocalyptic hint to it, you know, that you start to wonder, oh, is this set on a post-apocalyptic Earth, right? But you kind of approach that question as if it wasn't even important to the author. Like Kirby games, there's always, you know, almost like this running joke of, oh, Kirby takes place in post-apocalyptic Earth. Here is this laundry list of little pieces of evidence of it. Whereas this series, it's kind of like right from the start, they're kind of like winking at you and they're like, hey, don't you think this might be post-apocalyptic Earth? Hey, do you want to start compiling a list of evidence? Like it's intending to have that sort of response, which is, it's not bad. It's not like that feels cheap or inauthentic because it's going for that. I think instead it's just sort of interesting in how they then can optimize more for that. And it really is still super fascinating and super enchanting to fall into these mysteries, even though you know you're being led into them. So yeah, really, really cool stuff. Like, if that sounds good to you, if you like that sort of exploration of a series and you want to be given this sort of like playground for it, then go for it. I think this one gets a star. I was really impressed with it. I'm looking forward to eventually finishing it off. But yeah, one of my favorites in terms of evoking that feeling. What else has this person done? Ooh. Oh. Okay. I think this might be somebody else with the same name. Okay. Yeah, very cool. What is this again? Oh, this is another girl that's at first cold and standoffish, but eventually she starts to warm up to people. Just kidding. No, she's cold and standoffish because she's literally the embodiment of a cyclone. So that's fun. This is Pokemon Adventures that I mentioned earlier, is like kind of somewhere in between the actual plot of the game and something like the Pokemon anime. It's been going on forever. They go through every generation of the Pokemon games, and explore like the full plot of those games, which is really fun. But then they enhance it by kind of having like cross-generational references and stuff, and so they kind of like enhance maybe the villain of that generation's plots, and really kind of get more into their motivation and stuff. It's really good. I've read big chunks of it on like other sites. Unfortunately, it is not on Mangadex at all. But we'll find a way of reading it at some point. Yeah, Pokemon Zensho. I thought it was called like Pokemon Adventures, and the official localization, I don't know. But wait. Am I totally wrong? Hold the phone. Where's the phone? And hold it. Pokemon Zensho. There's like another Pokemon series. Maybe this isn't it. Pokemon Special. That's what I'm thinking of. Right? Yeah, this is the one I'm thinking of. Just kidding. What is this one? I don't even know. This one is even more directly based on the Pokemon games. Even more directly than this, I guess. Okay. Interesting. Anyways, I do want to read all of this at some point. Okay. Pokemon Special. Right. Oh, do I have this on my list? I was reading this too. Yeah, okay, we'll get to that. This is a very silly, goofy slice of life series about an alien girl. I got into this because I really like this author's Toho Dojinshi. Met this guy at Comic-Cat, which was cool. I just really, really like this guy's sense of humor. It's like so flat while being so goofy, if that makes sense. Like it'll have like a really outrageous like fourth wall format breaking joke, but delivered with like the most minimal flat timing. I really like that contrast. This was a silly slice of life. No, a silly fan service series. I mean, I finished reading this actually. It's just about this teacher that they all sexually harass, and then in return they have fan servicey mishaps. It was fine. I don't know. I don't remember too much about it. This I think I finished reading as well. Maybe I didn't finish it. Yuri series about this mangaka author artist page that decide to enhance the realism of their rom-com. They should practice dating each other, but of course you know how that goes in Yuri, and soon enough they're catching all sorts of real feelings for each other. I thought this was kind of neat because it had manga drawing aspects. I always like manga about manga that really get into the logistics of it and the challenges of it. I don't know. I remember it being pretty dramatic. Like, they would have breakup tier fights all the time, which to me just gets very exhausting, but excuse me. But I don't know. It was what it was. This is another girls' love thing. Don't remember this at all. What could this be about? Sakada? No clue. Alright, moving on. This is a very old series. I don't know, very silly. It's just this dude's boss is like really, really good at ping pong and is able to show off that skill in a surprising number of circumstances. I read it just because I was like really into ping pong and I was reading every series I could find about ping pong. It's a fun idea. I don't know. There's not much to it. I think I've read all of it. Actually, have I? I don't remember a board game night. Well, we'll leave it on here for now. It's fine. This is a series that I think deserves way more attention, and I would love it if the Scanlation picked up on it again. I wouldn't say it's like good. It's like very, very generic shonen. In fact, the title Famicom Rocky is supposed to be like Rocky from the Rocky movies, in that he just meets somebody, they challenge him to some game, there's some sort of stakes on the line, he loses humiliatingly, then he trains, then he comes back and wins. I've only read 2 chapters, but I can tell you that that's probably what happens over and over and over again through this entire series. But what I like about it is that they actually show you what these real games are like and what it takes to be good at them. And his actual training montages involve like the real mechanics of the game. And I think that's really fun. I don't know. I think that's really neat. Same with like High Score Girl and stuff. Anything that incorporates real video games and the real strategies and stuff around them is always going to be just a treat for me. So I would like to read more. Come on, Pepsi Man. Come on. Come on. Okay, we made it to the end of page 4. Only got 3 more pages to go. I think there's like some amount per page. So we're making progress. I hope you're enjoying these videos. I'm really enjoying making them. But I know they're also very long, so hopefully you can, I don't know, do something else at the same time. Or put them at higher speed or something. I don't know, just like the audacity of me of making these long-ass videos where I'm just like, yeah, this manga's good. But I just love manga that much. I really do. And this is the way I can think of to express that love. So hopefully this love can echo and resonate in the hands and the hearts of other manga fans. Okay, bye-bye.